Hello, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Time with Grandpa. And guess what? I'm Grandpa. I want to welcome everybody. I want to welcome all the new people that have just now discovered my channel. Uh, Let me tell you a little bit about myself for all those newcomers, because I have noticed on my algorithm I am getting a lot of new subscribers. Uh, I live in Nebraska, and I've been doing this for about a year now in the Nebraska climate. We are here in Nebraska, a semi arid region of the country where we get very little rainfall, so irrigation in our gardens is always a big plus. I want to discuss, usually on Sundays, which this is when I'm filming this on Sunday, I want to review all the short form videos that I posted over the last week. And if you all have any questions, feel free to leave a comment and ask me some questions, okay? We discussed a lot of subjects this week on my short forms. We discussed the victory garden phenomenon that's going on. And everybody, it seems like we're in a boom phase of everybody growing a victory garden in their backyards or front yards, or even if they have a small farm, they are growing huge amounts of food to either sell or to consume with their families, okay, to feed their families. And this is what's going on around the country right now. I hear from hundreds and hundreds of people every month about how they're taking on my suggestions and growing a victory garden. Now, you want to always ask when you're doing a victory garden is during what kind of climate you're in and what kind of soil you have, what kind of plants that you're wanting to grow. Every family is different. You know, some families don't like certain vegetables and other families love them. So it's basically up to you what you pick. Uh, but make sure you pick enough to grow a little bit extra to sell on the side as a side hustle. Like if you have extra tomatoes or extra cucumbers or extra squash, those are very popular. Green beans are very popular. People sell them in farmers markets all the time and make a lot of money. If this is an option for you, well, go ahead and do that, because that extra money will come in handy when we're going through hard times, or when we're senior citizens and not being able to live on a Social Security check. That extra money means sometimes it means the difference between life and death, and that's not putting it over dramatizing it either. Okay, now with growing a food garden, you want to make sure that you have a great watering system, some kind of irrigation system where you don't splash a lot of water on your plants, because plants don't like that. Tomatoes don't like that. Cucumbers don't like it either. There's just basically you need to keep the water level in your garden away from the plants and put it into the soil. So I have created a water irrigation system using these jugs. Let me show you what they look like. This is a jug. I have about 20 or 30 of these in my garden right now. They're buried halfway deep down in the ground, and I put a hole on top and take the hose and fill it up, and make sure I only put one or two holes on the bottom right here. Poke one or two holes, because any more than that and it will run out too quickly, and you won't be able to do like a dripping out very slowly, because that's what you want. You want to feed your plants slow. So once this is in the ground and you have several of them in your garden, you have a new way of watering your garden without using a sprinkler system or a hose, getting water all over your plants, which they do not like, and it causes leaf blight and rot in plants. It causes, if too much water gets on your tomatoes, they'll start rotting with blossom end rot and other diseases. So this is a good way to start. A great tip for you. I did a video on my irrigation system, and I believe next week or the week after I'm going to be filming my garden when I start putting out my plants, and I will show you what I've done. Okay. Now, another thing you want to do in your garden, you want to make sure that you make soil improvements either in the fall by adding more compost and more manure, and for doing the same thing in the spring, because you want to keep those nutrients going. You want to feed the worms that are in the ground. Add your kitchen waste to your garden. Don't throw it in the garbage. Put it in a container or a bucket of some kind, and save it. And then when it's full, go ahead and dump it out into the garden and add it to your soil or your compost pile, which you may be doing both. Um, Always remember that your plants need nutrition, and they need a lot of it, because pepper plants and tomato plants and cucumbers, they're top feeders. They will suck all the nutrients out. They're just almost as bad as corn. But I don't plant corn because I don't like corn, and I never will eat corn. And that's just a personal choice of mine. I don't like corn, but a lot of people do. So remember that they're heavy feeders, and they require a lot of nutrition to grow big and strong, and where you have an abundance of harvest. Uh, I introduced a new thing in my garden this year, which I'm trying out. It's just an experiment with me. I'm trying vertical gardening. In other words, I'm using trellises a lot. I'm letting my beans, cucumbers, tomatoes all grow on trellises to where I can double my harvest, because that is my goal this year. I have a very small garden. It's only about 100 feet by 100 feet. It's sort of like a square on the side of my cottage here. And that's where I grow the bulk of my produce. And I want to double that this year. I want to grow enough extra so I can have a little side hustle going on, and I'll sell my extra cucumbers and my extra tomatoes and squashes and zucchini and whatever I have extra left over. I will sell that and make a little bit of money on the side. Always remember also, after you put your plants out, okay, this is in May now coming up. Once the danger of frost has gone away, here in Nebraska, I believe it's the 15th of May is the last frost date. But once that you've reached that time, you can put your tomato plants out and put all your delicate plants out. But make sure after you put them out and watering them really good, and making sure they have good fertilizer, lots of calcium, lots of phosphate, uh, that you go ahead and compost it. Put a little straw hay on top and cover them up, is basically around the plant, not the plant itself, but around the plant, so that will retain the moisture in the ground. And I do believe this year we are heading for a severe drought, and I'm actually fearful that the gardens won't be doing that well this year. We won't be getting huge harvests because it just has not been raining. We haven't had rain here in Nebraska for a good 4 or 5 months. It hardly hasn't rained at all. We got a little bit of snow, but it melted really quick. So we are deficient in the rain area. So we're going to be heavily reliant upon our irrigation system that we have here. Now, another thing is, make sure if you have, I realize right now with all the wars going on in the Middle East, that fertilizer prices have skyrocketed. If you've been into the store and looked at fertilizer lately, they've almost doubled in price. It's awful. This is the time of the year that you can fight back by making your own fertilizer. Get get yourself some kind of container that holds, like a plastic barrel of 55 gallons or more, and take the top off of it, load it up with a bunch of organic matter. Can be leaves from the garden, grass clippings, it can be your kitchen scraps, whatever you can scrounge up, put it in there and fill it with water, put the lid back on, and let that rot for a couple of months. And then you will have, come July, August, you will have a sort of like a brew of fertilizer in that barrel that you can use to fertilize your garden instead of putting the traditional granite. gradual fertilizer out, that you usually buy in the store. This is a great way to save money. It's you can use comp-free plants to do your fertilizing. Throw them in a bucket, fill it with water, and that will create sort of like a soupy substance in there once the leaves rot in the barrel. And you will have a fantastic fertilizer. Start this up immediately, okay? Because it does take, if you start it now, by July and August, when your plants really need to be fertilized, you will have that concoction of sort of like tea brewing with all your waste materials that you've created a great fertilizer. Another thing is you need to think early in spring like we have now. Once the plants are out, think about pruning, because you can prune your peppers to produce more. You can produce more tomatoes by pruning, and you can produce a heck of a lot of cucumbers by pruning properly. And especially now, when the peppers go out in May and June and they start flowering on top, those first flowers that form on a pepper, snip them off. You don't want them to grow to maturity. Start snipping them off from the top, about 1/3 inch from the top. Snip that stuff off, and that way your pepper plants will be sending more energy down to the roots and into the plant, so you will have a bumper harvest of peppers. It's a great way to grow peppers. Another thing is, this is also a good time, if you've got extra time, build yourself some strong trellises. I have built trellises. I finished with mine. I still have a few tomato trellises to build, but that's about it. And I'll be ready for my plants. I'm going to be ready. I've thought ahead of time. I made plans ahead of time to go ahead and do what I needed to do to have a bumper crop year in my victory garden. I so hope you have liked these suggestions that I have given you. That's my channel, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to give you information to help you along with your garden, to help you along with living life to the fullest. I talk about many different subjects: how to improve your life, how to be happy, how to stay healthy in your old age. Stay tuned to my channel, because many more interesting subjects are coming your way, because my channel will be able to do that for you. If you have any questions, always ask me questions. I love hearing from my audience, and just to see what you think about my channel. I want to grow my channel. I want to do different things on my channel. And now that the weather's warming up, I'm going to be traveling a little bit more once I get my garden in. Um, I'm going to start traveling more about June and July and August. I want to take a couple of trips up to the lake that's close by and show you how I do my meditations when I'm out near water or near a wooded area. Uh, Always remember, Grandpa's here for you, sending love and blessings. And guess what? It's that time in my video where I always say, bye bye. See you next time. Love you. Bye bye.